see Israel as a doppelganger of European colonialism, much more directly. I think that the idea, the narrative of Zionism is that Jews would become safe if they had a European-like state of their own. So they replicated forms of nationalism that have oppressed Jews for centuries in Europe. There have been genocides and holocausts throughout the history of colonialism and capitalism. And there were anti-colonial thinkers like Nehru in India, Aimé Césaire in Martinique, W.E.B. Du Bois in the United States, who, as fascism was rising in Europe in the 1930s and 40s, were saying, well, this is actually a boomerang, in the word, in Césaire's words. This is colonialism coming back to Europe. That all of these techniques, the theories of race, like the bogus race science, the technologies of the concentration camps, the laws against racial mixing, all of these predated the European fascists, and in fact were developed in Namibia against the Nama and Herero, were used in South Africa, were used against indigenous people in the Americas, were used in the transatlantic slave trade. And so it's because if we don't understand it, then we will replicate it. And in fact, I believe that that's what happened by seeing Israel as an acceptable form of reparations for the Holocaust, specifically Israel as an ethno-state, that is identified as a Jewish state, which therefore needs to maintain Jewish supremacy with a demographic majority. How do you do that in a majority Palestinian territory? Well, you can only do it through ethnic cleansing, which is what happened in 1948 with the Nakba. But it becomes continuous because there's always the demographic threat. Gaza represents the most concentrated population of Palestinians. And so there's always been a segment of Israeli political society that believed that they had to get rid of that demographic threat. And so I don't think that it's an acceptable reparations for one Holocaust to say now we are passing the mantle of whiteness onto you as a form of reparations, to say now you get to be the colonists and you get to do ethnic cleansing.